Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Space Wolf Codex review. This is another army that I'll be adopting now for the Art of Warhouse.
That's right. That's right. You're our dedicated Space Wolf, Death Guard, and Thousand Suns and Orcs.
Yeah, that's right.
At this point, for now.
I have so many homes, I'm so happy in all of them. I've built so many houses.
Only 4 armies, which for now, as I said, we'll
go up from there.
Drakkari's looking awful excited.
Now, notably for me, this is my first ever Space Marine faction.
Yes, this is not mine.
This is my first ever Space Marine faction. I am very, very excited to get started on this series. Now, important to know, guys, we are on YouTube, so don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Tell me what you think about Space Wolves in the comments below. Have a good time there. Also, you can go to the War Room at warroom.vhx.tv.
Ooh, very good.
You can see a live game right now, right?
That's right.
Or pre-recorded, yeah.
Pre-recorded, but game with the new Space Wolf Codex in the War Room right now. There's a free 3-day trial. You don't even have to be signed up to go do it. You just click a link down in the description below. If you've already forgotten what the link was, because it is a bit of a mouthful, you can go check out the description. 3-day free trial. Check out all our Space Wolves content, and maybe stick around.
And go from there. All right, so let's just jump into the very short army rule we have to break down.
Yes, there isn't one, because you have Oath. You have Oath of Moment. So.
Oath of Moments, spoiler alert, and you have Curse over the Wulfen, which we'll come back to.
Yes, Curse of the Wulfen is, I guess they just didn't want to write it out, because in Blood Angels, they wrote out the Black Rage rule like 5 times, and I guess they didn't want to do that here.
Yeah, so now it's just to tag Wulfen models that we'll talk about later. Just have OC0 base, and if they are within 6 inches of a Space Wolves character specifically, then they can increase their OC. 1 for infantry models, 3 if they're a vehicle. However, if you're within 12 inches of the new Wolf Priest, then you increase your OC by the same amounts.
Yeah, which is pretty good, because I think Wolf Priests are solid.
They are. I'm actually very excited to talk about the Wolf Priest.
Absolutely.
Let's go ahead and crack over to Datasheets, and we'll go from there.
The Army Painter is my favorite hobby company in the entire world. My desk is literally full of Army Painter products, and it takes me from being an average painter to putting above tabletop standard models out into the tournament scene. Not only that, but the Army Painter has sponsored more competitive play than any other hobby company in the industry. They allow us to keep doing the things that we do. If you enjoy the Army Painter as much as I do, head over to thearmypainter.com where you can use the discount code ARTOFWAR5 to get a discount on your next order.
All right, leading us off, we got Logan Grimnar here, the Great Wolf and High King of Fenris.
The sickest new model.
Yes.
He's so cool.
Very excited to get that dude on the table. He is movement 6 in a Terminator, and that is not... we're going to see that. Basically, this entire codex got +1 move across the board.
Super fast.
Yes. World Leaders got +2, but they are not doing some of the things that Space Wolves are doing on their data sheets. So, yeah, movement 6 Terminators. Super exciting on that one. So, he has 8 wounds as well. He's quite a chunky boy. Yeah. He's got his 2 wolves with him. And his axe, Morkai, is basically the same as it was before. 6 attacks at strength 8, AP2, damage 3. Or 10 attacks at strength 6, AP2, damage 1. And then Turnak and Fenrir are 6 attacks combined at strength 5, AP1, damage 1. So he's really good at mulching through infantry units.
Yeah.
But he doesn't actually hit that hard.
Yeah, I think this melee profile is pretty okay.
It's fine.
Yeah.
It's fine. AP2 is but his abilities are crazy.
They're very good.
So he has the ability High King of Fenris. Once per battle round in your movement phase, you can pick a friendly Space Wolves unit that is in strategic reserves. And if you do, until the end of the phase, for the purpose of setting up that unit on the battlefield, treat the current battle round number as being 1 higher than it actually is, which can sometimes let you come in their deployment zone on turn 2 or whatever with an outflanking unit. But really, the advantage here is he can show up turn 1.
Yeah, and I like that since he's going to be with Terminators, right? So I imagine he has a deep strike keyword too.
He does.
So being able to set up Terminators on turn 1 as a staging ground actually is pretty nice.
Yeah, it's the same wording as Hunter's Instincts, which let you show up turn 1. So I'd be surprised if people ruled that you couldn't.
Yep.
But you can't rapid ingress with it because it's only for your movement phase, which keeps it a lot...
Significantly more fair.
Significantly more fair. But showing up turn 1 is very good. And then his better ability, Guile of the Wolf. Every time your opponent targets a unit from their army of the stratagem, if that unit is within 12 inches of this model, increase the cost of that usage of the stratagem by 1 CP.
This is like a very interesting stratagem.
Yes.
Or not stratagem, ability.
Ability to affect your opponent's stratagem.
Yes, exactly. I really like this because he's also, from what I can tell, he's on a pretty chunky base, right?
Yeah, it looks bigger than it was before because it's also going to fit him, who's in a bigger armor.
Yeah.
And 2 wolves.
Yeah, this ability being able to either rapid and then be able to set up a Vectora in the fight phase, because this is a combat army at the end of the day, and Vectoras are at their best in combat armies.
Yes. Also, the game really isn't equipped to deal with +1 CP auras very well. It never really was. They just weren't that common, and they weren't on things that could last for more than 1 turn within 12 inches of your opponent. Like, you saw the Calidus everywhere. The Calidus died fairly quickly. And other than that, you see Cypher, and he still dies kind of fast. Not an 8-wound model with a 2-up save. Like, Bjorn lost that aura. He gave it to Logan.
Yep.
And Bjorn was cranked. One of the better units in the game, in my opinion. You just didn't see him that often for whatever reason. And a lot of that was because if your opponent has 3 CP, they get to use one CP stratagem, and that's it.
That's it.
Right? They can use a 2 CP stratagem and burn out as well, but they get to use 1 strat, period, even if they have 3 CP. And the game just really isn't like equipped for that.
No, and I think this might be the most durable Vectora we've seen.
It's close. Bjorn was more durable, but now
Kairos is
now
also
it's gone.
technically more durable too, but like Kairos can't take a punch as well, right?
Yeah, Kairos also, you don't see him that often because he is not a Terminator model. He is a monster.
Yep.
So he's very deliverable, and I think he's pretty good.
He's a very interesting data sheet. I think
Yes.
there's nothing to discount here.
No, he pushes up the board. He deep strikes on turn 1 with his unit, and then he pushes up the board, and he makes all your opponents around him sadder.
I love him.
And that's basically what he does.
And
he
he's
no longer has the army-wide reroll hits and reroll charges thing that he used to do before.
Mini Wah was kind of a nuts rule.
It was pretty nuts.
So
He's still pretty good.
I think he's great.
Yeah. We got Njal Stormcaller, who is a move 7 model. Again, power armor is going to move 7 in this codex, and Terminators are going to move 6. While he's leading a unit, ranged weapons equipped by models in that unit have assault, and every time they advance, you move 6.
Okay. Yeah, that's pretty good.
Yeah, no, that is legitimately pretty good. He is no longer in Terminator armor. Downgrade. And he is only 4 wounds, which is a little...
I thought that was a little
Small.
squishy for this guy. Yeah.
Yeah, I thought they were taking Space Marine characters up to 5, but I guess not.
Space Wolves didn't get the memo.
No, but they got the movement memo.
They got the movement memo.
Yeah, that's pretty huge. So he is, decent in combat. Sustained hits 2, but it's like only 7 AP1 damage D3. And then Living Lightning, which is nice to have because his unit is probably going to be advancing around and shooting.
I do really like that, especially since there's so much usually advance and charge in models like Space Wolves, and then assault, so you can advance, shoot, and charge, auto 6. That's good.
Yeah, his gun is like okay. It's 2d6 shots at strength 7, AP1, damage 1 with sustained hits 2.
Okay.
Which is okay. It's good at killing like cultists. It hits on 3s. Yeah, it's okay. His
There's
unit's
some
gonna
good
have to
synergy with oaths. That's about it.
Yep, and he can only go in Blood Claws, Grey Hunters, and Wolfguard Headtakers, which I think is going to wreck him, because if he could go in like Stern Guard,
That'd be great.
that'd be great. Yeah. They advance, 12 inches around the whole board, but those are melee units. They're not really going to be wanting to advance and shoot that much.
Except one might want to.
One? Okay,
One
well,
might
we'll
want
get there when we get there, I suppose. Ulrik the Slayer, this guy was my boy in the Index. He is completely different than he was before. He is 5 attacks at strength 6, AP2, damage 2, anti-monster vehicle 4+. He can join Blood Claws, Grey Hunters, and Wolfguard Headtakers. He has Feel No Pain 6+. At the start of the battle, you pick one of the following keywords to be this model's Slayer Oath: character, monster, or vehicle. The first time this model's unit destroys a unit with this model's Slayer Oath keyword, if your detachment roll has a Saga, until the end of the battle, this model's unit receives the benefits of that detachment roll as if the Saga has been completed. And then while this model is leading a unit, every time a model in that unit makes a melee attack, +1 to hit. And if they target a unit that has the model's Slayer Oath, +1 to wound. Which is a good suite of buffs.
Yeah, it's a pretty good suite of buffs. I would like to see kind of what the other leaders are and what combos we can set up and what enhancements we can do.
Exactly.
I think with every epic hero, it's always kind of like, is this better than an enhancement?
Yeah, because like in the past, right, the unit he could join was pretty anemic, but he made them really good when he stacked a bunch of combos. So maybe it goes the other way,
Yeah.
And +1 to hit, +1 to wound is a very
It's
good
actually
buff.
very
It's a very good buff.
Yeah, especially on, I think, the Headtakers.
Yeah, and then you get in, you kill something, you complete the saga immediately just for them. That might actually be super good.
Yeah, we'll have to come back and kind of evaluate that on the detachments.
Yep.
Next up, we have Bjorn the Fell-Handed. I'm very excited to talk about this guy. I think he has a very, very good profile. So Bjorn is going to be movement 9. He's
+1.
T9, 2 up, 8 wounds, 5 up invuln, 6 up leadership, OC3.
He gained an invuln. He didn't have an invuln before.
Oh, well, now he does. The weapons he's going to have a couple options, but let's face it, you're going to take the Hellfrost Cannon. This is the best one. So the Hellfrost Cannon is going to be range 12 inches, D6 shots, strength 6, AP 1 for 2, torrent.
Used to be strength 5. Nice upgrade.
That's a nice upgrade. The Hellfrost Cannon Focused is range 36. 1 shot, hits on a 2, strength 10, AP 3 for 5.
Used to be strength 9, which made it significantly worse at killing vehicles, but the fact it's strength 10 now is a huge breakpoint.
Yeah, I love that the flexibility of this gun. You can kill some, even just Space Marines. You can also just like blast a vehicle or something.
I think it comes with a heavy flamer as well, right?
Let's double check. It's Assault Cannon, Heavy Flamer, True Claw, and then you can switch the Assault Cannon out for Hellfrost Cannon or a multi-mana. You're definitely going to swap it out for the Hellfrost Cannon.
Yeah, basically you either get a double flamer, which is good for just shooting and overwatch, or you get it 1 solid shot at long range, which is very nice.
True Claw, his melee, which has lethal hits, is going to have 6 attacks, hitting on 2s, strength 12, AP 2 for 3.
Yep, that's, does it lethal hit still?
Still has lethal hits.
Yep, so that's exactly where it was before. It was pretty good.
Yeah, I really like this. He has 5 Feel No Pain. And then he has 2 abilities. The first one is Legendary Tenacity. This is going to be the traditional Terminator rule. He's -1 to wound if your strength is higher.
Yeah.
Which on a T9 model actually is pretty good.
That's pretty huge, yeah.
And then his second ability is at the start of your command phase. If this model's on the battlefield, you gain a CP. I think this one ability puts this guy on like every list.
I would say so, unless his cost is like pretty dramatic.
That's be pretty ludicrous.
I think he got a little worse. Well, half damage was very good in the past.
That's true.
And the +1 CP to your opponent's strats aura was pretty damn good. But the fact that goes over to Logan and now he just hands you an extra CP every turn. Oh.
Yeah, I think the Logan Bjorn combo could be real, right? And then you can really attack the CP economy. And I like this a lot.
Yeah, no, I think +1 CP just as a static thing that happens is not super common. And when you see it, it is generally good.
Yeah. Bjorn, I think this is great. I'm very excited to put this guy on the table. I think he's going to see himself on a lot of Space Wolves lists. Next up, we have Ragnar Blackmane. This guy still slaps.
Yeah, he
still slaps. So
was incredible, and you'd be surprised. Yeah. He's still incredible.
So still movement 7, still T4, 3 up, 4 up, 5 wounds.
Yep.
He gets +1 wound.
Now, he had 5 wounds before. He was just Primaris all the time. Like, I don't know why.
All right, well, 5 wounds on this guy. His melee is going to be Frostfang. Sustained hits 1. 8 attacks, hitting on 2s, strength 6, AP 3 for 2.
And then on the charge, it still goes to 10 attacks at strength 8, right?
That is exactly right. Battle Lust is the second ability. Every time he ends a charge move until the end of the turn, add 2 attacks to Frostfang. So this is going to be good for heroics as well.
Not +2 strength.
Not +2 strength, just +2 attacks.
Used to be +2 attacks, +2 strength. So it used to go up to 10 attacks at strength 8. 10 attacks at strength 6, AP 3 damage 2. Not quite as good, but still very good.
It's still very good. He has another ability which are going to be relevant for what he can lead. So he can lead Blood Claws and Headtakers, which we'll review soon. He gives Blood Claws reroll wounds in melee, which is a very
good buff. Yeah.
And he gives Headtakers always advance in charge.
Those are huge. He used to give his unit advance in charge, but he couldn't join things that were as good as Headtakers or Blood Claws. So he's gotten an upgrade.
Both of these abilities are really quite potent. I think this is another model that's going to find itself in most Space Wolves lists.
Yeah, before you used to see Bjorn, at least in my list, it was Bjorn, Ragnar, what else are we taking? Ulrik as well.
Exactly.
Which might just still be the case.
Next up, we have Arjac Rockfist. So this guy is a...
This guy rocks.
He does rock. That's true. He moves 6. He's T5, 2 up, 4 up, 6 wounds. Good beefy guy. He has a gun, foe hammer, anti-monster, anti-vehicle, 3 up with assault. 6 inches, 1 shot, strength 2, strength 8, AP 2 for 3.
Yep.
And then his melee foe hammer once again. It has the exact same buffs as before, except now it picks up precision in melee. And then it's 5 attacks, hitting on 2, strength 8, AP 2 for 3. He has 2 abilities. He gives 4 up, fight on death for his units he can lead, which is only Wolfguard Terminators.
I mean, that makes sense.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
And then his other ability is each time this model makes a melee attack against a character unit, he can reroll the hit and the wound roll.
Yep.
Which, with precision, anti-monster, anti-vehicle 3 up, this means this guy's probably going to get most of his hits through.
Yeah, probably. It's against characters he rerolls hits?
Specifically characters.
So Against characters, he's going to be converting most of it. Against monsters and vehicles, he's going to be wounding on 3s, which is still pretty good.
It's still pretty good. I think the real issue here is that he only leads Terminators. And I'm finding tough reasons to bring Grimnar, or this guy over Grimnar.
Yes, and it's going to be tough to find reasons to bring 2 units of Terminators.
That's the other thing too, is that Terminators traditionally are pretty expensive, and Space Marines are also an elite faction, right? So bring 2 units of Terminators, this guy'd have to be pretty cheap.
This guy would have to be pretty cheap, and even then, Wolfguard Terminators would probably have to be pretty cheap for you.
Pretty cheap as well.
Yeah, because you can get some really good units here, and Wolfguard Terminators are aight.
Yeah, I think so too. So, I mean, he's good. I think he's interesting. I think he could have a place in a list. We just kind of have to see a little more.
Maybe he could run around by himself, honestly. That could be real.
A little rapid threat, honestly, for just a little Terminator guy.
5 attacks, real hits wounds against characters with precision.
That's right, and it's for that model, so he doesn't have to be leading in order to get that.
That has non-Lone Op Lucius vibes to me.
I agree.
Yeah, I think that's pretty cool.
Next up, we have the Wolf Priest. Now, this model is really cool and has some really cool abilities. So movement 7, T4, 3 up, 4 up, 4 wounds, leadership 6, all the usual stuff. He does have an Absolver bolt pistol, which is going to be strength 5, AP 1 for 2, hitting on 3s. And then he has the Crozius Arcanum, however you pronounce these silly Space Marine words.
Hey, you're one of us now, bud.
He has 5 attacks, hitting on 2, strength 6, AP 1 for 2.
Okay, yeah. Standard Crozius.
Now we have 2 important abilities here, which we're going to be kind of fusion blasting 2 Space Marine models together. The first one is Healing Bombs. While he's leading this unit in the command phase, res a model.
That is very good. What can he join?
He can lead Blood Claws, Grey Hunters, and Headtakers.
That was the one I was looking for. Can he join Headtakers? Yes. Okay, cool.
And every time while he's leading this unit, a model in that unit is +1 to wound in melee.
Also very good. Also very, very good.
Just good.
Man, this is making me wish. Sanguinary Priests could join Blade Guard.
Yeah.
They cannot. If they could, it would be busted. So maybe it's not a good idea.
I'm a big fan of the Wolf Priest. I keep saying it, but I think this is another model that's going to end up in most Space Wolves lists.
+1 to wound means you do a lot of damage. I mean, he is legitimately an apothecary. What an apothecary should be.
Mm-hmm.
I think apothecary does actually res a model.
It does.
Apothecary and chaplain jammed together and just PB&J. They're great.
Just good.
Yeah. And he joins Headtakers.
Yeah.
Which is the unit you want him to join.
Headtakers are very cool.
Headtakers are very cool.
And let's move on.
So we got the Iron Priest here. He is a Tech Marine. He's a Movement 7 Tech Marine. He has a Hellfrost pistol that is basically an AP1 Flamer or Strength 6, AP3 damage 3 with 1 shot, which is not a bad weapon. He has 4 attacks, hitting on 4s at Strength 8, AP2 damage 3, because he has a hammer. He has on 4s. They kind of rolled it all together. If he's within 3 inches of a vehicle, he gains Lone Op. In your command phase, you can pick a vehicle within 3, and it heals D3 wounds, and ranged weapons equipped by that model have Rapid Fire 1.
Now that is a very interesting ability.
This is very there's some parallels between this book and World Eaters.
Mm-hmm.
The bonus movement to like everything in the army, and then I'll focus on rapid fire shooting.
I really like this model.
You cannot give it rapid fire and +1 to hit from a Tech Marine. You can't do Iron Priest and a Tech Marine at the same time. And then every time he makes an attack that targets an enemy unit with engagement range of 1 or more vehicle units, you reroll wounds, which is okay.
That's okay.
But Rapid Fire 1 is intriguing.
Yeah, you're going to have to like really do some digging into a bunch of different Space Marine vehicles and be like, okay, if this model had Rapid Fire 1 on everything, how good would this be?
Like a Valiant in Melta range, just being like, I have 6 Melta shots. I'm a Black Templar now.
Mm-hmm.
And I have 3 shots off the Las Talon.
Yeah.
A Lancer going to 3 shots off their laser destroyer.
At range like what?
Range, I don't know, 36.
A bunch?
Something.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's really good, actually.
Yeah. I think there's some interesting uses for the Wolf Priest.
Ballistus going to 6 shots.
Yeah.
That's very hot. Yeah, long range single shot pieces are going
getting
to
an
really
extra shot.
like it. Yeah,
that's good.
Yeah, even a repulsor goes from 3 to 5 anti-tank shots. That's pretty huge.
I like him.
Yeah, that's cool. That's a cool ability.
Very cool ability.
All right, speaking of a guy with cool abilities, the Wolf Guard Battle Leader has a sick model.
Super cool model.
Like, I need to figure out if I can de-wolfify him and include in my Blood Angels.
Okay, that'd be cool.
Yeah. He moves 7. He has 5 wounds, 3 up, 4 up. Standard Marine stat line, other than the move 7. He he has a mastercrafted power weapon or a thunder hammer, which is either 7 attacks with strength 5 AP2 damage 2, or 5 attacks at 8/2/2 dev.
Okay.
But hitting on 3s on the thunder hammer. And then he can replace his storm shield with mastercrafted bolt carbine, mastercrafted heavy bolt pistol, or plasma pistol. You probably won't do any of that.
Yeah, the extra wound is nice.
Yeah, extra wound is nice. Goes up to 6. And the guns are kind of mid.
They're fine. They're not great.
His abilities, while he's leading a unit, weapons equipped by models in that you weapons, straight up, not melee weapons, just weapons get sustained hits 1. And anytime a model in that unit makes an attack that targets an enemy unit within 6 inches, you roll hit rolls of 1. There is a unit he can join that is rerolls to wound against stuff on objectives, and gives them reroll 1s to hit, and gives them an extra shot. Gives them sustained hits, not an extra shot. That's the Iron Priest. That's a lot, first off. But second off, if you're in combat, like with a Headtaker squad,
You just always.
and then
Really
there's like,
rolls of 1.
you're just always really hit rolls of 1 with sustained hits. That is a lot of damage.
It's a lot of damage. This is another great character. I don't know how I'm gonna fit every character I want in this army.
Welcome to Space Wolves.
They're all so good.
They're all so good. And then he also fights on death on a 2-up, which is good. Pretty good.
Yeah.
He'll take a chunk out of your opponent on the way out. I think it's him versus the Wolf Priest for me. And I do think the Wolf Priest is going to win that one, but I don't know.
I think it depends.
He hits hard on the Wolf Priest. 7 attacks at 5/2/2 or 5 attacks at 8/2/2.
He does. You don't get the +1 wound, but you pick up the sustained. I think it's going to be kind of what units want what buffs, right?
It's probably the sustained hits and reroll hit rolls 1 versus +1 to wound and hit res a guy.
Exactly.
I'm like, okay, that's tough.
I think he probably wants to go with not Headtakers and go with some other guys. But then I say that and I'm like, man, but Headtakers with sustained,
kind of cool.
with sustained hits.
Go kind of fleet.
That's pretty good.
It's pretty good. Yeah, I mean, this has all the buffs it needs to be like a good melee army.
Very competitive.
Good melee army.
Next up, we have the Blood Claws. So this is our first battle line unit. They are going to move 7, T4, 3 up, 2 up, just a traditional Space Marine profile here. They are OC2, notably. They have bolt pistols. One guy's going to have like the plasma pistol on the sergeant or whatever. And then for our melee weapons, everyone has a chainsword, hitting on 4 attacks, hitting on 3s, 4/1/1, traditional stuff. We have a power weapon, 4 attacks, hitting on 3s, 5/2/1. So a little better than chainsword. It's really just a super chainsword. The important thing to note here is that this ability is you can advance and charge always.
Always for the unit.
Just always advance and charge.
There's a hell of a data sheet roll.
Very, very good data sheet rule. They can also be in 20-mans.
Oh, can they? They're 10 to 20?
They're 10 to 20.
Yeah, because the Grey Hunters can't, right? The Grey Hunters are 10.
Grey Hunters are just 10-mans.
But Blood Claws get in there at 20 mans with advance and charge natively.
Blood Claw Horde?
They
Blood
might.
Claw Horde?
Depends on the cost.
Like 100 Blood Claws on the table?
Maybe. GW keeps trying to push that.
Could be an interesting world we're living in soon.
Could be. 100 Berserkers versus 100 Blood Claws. Who wins?
I think the Berserkers win that one.
They might. They're also
Strength 5, right?
You also strength 6 on the charge if you're in
yeah.
Berserker Warband.
Only strength 4.
It's only strength 4, and also you can't fit 100. You can only fit like 80, and that's it. Like whatever.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I really like these guys. I think they have some good leaders to go with them. For instance, Ragnar giving these guys 4 rolls to wound, always advance and charge. I think that's pretty interesting. All the leaders are good. I think the Wolf Priest doesn't necessarily belong here. I don't think this is the home for him, but I think a battle leader or Ragnar could end up here.
It is nice to res a model in this unit because they're always going to take damage, and then the one model doesn't like matter.
Yeah.
But you get like 3.5 inches of extra movement out of it, and then with an advance and charge, if you shoot this thing like at all,
That part is true. I just think most of the time these guys are going to connect and then they're dead.
depends if you take 20.
I guess that's true. A 20-man could live.
20 man kind of goes hard. Do any of the Space Wolf infantry units have the clause where like if you can join X unit, you can also join this unit?
I have not seen anything like that so far.
Okay, because I know that like Blood Angels have that, for example. Like if you can join Jump Pack Intercessors or whatever, you can.
The leaders are just inclusive of Space Wolf models.
I see.
Yeah.
I see.
It's a very,
Very, very
insulated book.
which makes sense thematically.
Yeah, it makes sense thematically. Next up, we have Grey Hunters, another actually a really cool data sheet. So they're going to have the exact same basic Space Marine profile with the move 7, except these guys are OC3. Just baseline.
Yeah, just baseline OC3 infantry is kind of crazy.
Like, very, very good.
So OC2 with a banner, it's printed on the datasheet, OC3.
Each of these models is equipped with a bolt carbine and a chainsword. So a bolt carbine is rapid fire 1, range 24, 2 attacks, hitting on 3, strength 4, AP 0 for 1.
So it's a +1 shot bolter, basically.
Yeah.
That's a lot of bullets.
Yeah, I like that a lot. And then if you give this with, say, the battle leader, it can have sustained, rapid fire 1. All of a sudden you're like, actually you're just like killing Jaff, like very easily and shooting up screens.
Yeah. And if you have the battle leader, you get sustained hits. OC3, and then you have a how many attacks does a chainsword have?
They are a 4-attack chainsword.
They're 4-attack chainsword.
And then the sergeant gets a power fist in this unit.
That is a lot of attacks.
Yeah, it's a lot of attacks. And then they have the Cunning Hunters rule. It's each time this model makes an attack, just reroll wound roll 1. That's always. If the opponent is on an objective marker, reroll all your wounds.
Does the control of the objective matter at all?
Control of the objective does not matter in this one.
Does not matter. So if you're on an objective, because they're going to take any objective away they touch.
Yeah, exactly. Well, it's actually, so if the target is within range of the objective marker.
Right.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is like, they would have the problem of charging onto an objective. And
then
oh, oops, sorry, it's my objective.
Oops, I took it.
Oh, no.
Yeah, I think these guys are also really interesting.
Why do they have 70 attacks? 40 attacks plus 30 shots?
It's a lot.
It's a lot, man.
It's a lot.
It's a lot.
OC3 too is a lot. I think this is possibly another good home for the battle leader.
Yeah.
I like the battle leader here.
Yeah, for sure. And then he rerolls his wounds and like, we'll see the points cost.
Yep. Important to note, Ragnar cannot lead this unit.
Yes, if you give it advanced and charge. Dude, OC3 is just crazy.
Yeah, it's really good. This is just a Space Marine plus. Yeah. Right? That's all it is.
It's a +1 OC, +1 move, +1 attack, +1 shot.
The melee, good rules. Just good across the board.
Just good across the board.
Let's jump over to, I think maybe my favorite unit.
It's the coolest unit.
The Wolf Guard Headtaker. So this unit is a little weird because it is packaged in with hunting wolves, which are kind of like side wolves in a way.
Yeah.
So the Headtakers are move 7, T4, 3 up, 3 wounds.
Yep.
Leadership 6, OC1. And then hunting wolves, move 10, T4, 6 up save, 1 wound, 8 up leadership. They're just wolves. Nothing crazy here. The weapons we have, everybody's got a heavy bolt pistol. And then we have 2 options for our melee weapon, which is going to be kind of a tough choice. We can take a master-crafted power weapon, which is going to be 4 attacks, hitting on 3s, 5-2-2, and a storm shield, which gives these guys a 4-up invuln.
4 pinwheel is huge.
Or we can replace our storm shield with paired master-crafted weapons, and we get 2 extra attacks on this profile.
That is also huge. 6 attacks is a lot. A lot of friggin' attacks.
It's a lot. I am going to have a tough time deciding which I wanted these, because with a Wolf Priest, having a bunch of 3-wound dudes with a 4-up invuln that you're rezzing, giving +1 to wound, I mean, that's really good. But like Ragnar, where you take paired weapons, and then 6 guys is 36 attacks, plus Ragnar's 8 is like, 44 attacks or something ridiculous, all at 2 damage. That's pretty good. Tough choice.
Tough choice. What are their datasheet rules?
Yeah, so we have a couple interesting abilities. So the first one is Let Loose the Wolves. So when you build this unit in your list, it's going to have the hunting wolves packed into it. Now, according to the back of the book, you can basically take every combination of this possible. You can take 3 Headtakers and 0 wolves, 6 Headtakers and 0 wolves, and then some amount of wolves and some amount of Headtakers.
You can never take wolves without Headtakers, though.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
It's like a little complicated for no reason.
Yeah.
Then they just split up at the start of the battle and become 2 independent units.
So you can elect to not take the wolves at all.
Yeah, you can have no
elect to take the wolves. They're kind of like a separate unit.
Yeah, they're just their own separate unit, but they're built into the data sheet.
Weird.
Very weird. I don't exactly know why it's built this way, but it is.
It could have just been 2 separate. Is there a reason why it's not 2 separate?
As far as I know, I don't know.
I guess maybe to keep you from taking a random couple units of Fenrisian.
Now, as I say, there are the Fenrisian wolves still, which are a very, very similar profile. Maybe they just didn't want Wolf Horde becoming a problem.
Yeah. Wolf Jail still.
The only thing I can think of. Yeah.
What do they do?
So they have headhunters. At the start of the battle, select 1 unit from your opponent's army to be your quarry. Every time a Headtaker's model attacks that unit, they have the devastating wounds and precision abilities.
Oh, hey-o.
And then when you kill a quarry, pick a new one.
Okay. All right. Beginning a battle is okay. It's fine. You pick with whoever's across from you, basically. having to connect there is kind of annoying, but at least you get to pick a new one if you do kill them.
Yeah, I think this is just a cute little buff.
It's a cute little buff. Dev wounds is pretty good payoff if you do connect them.
I think so too. I think it's going to take some skill and some pilot practice to figure out what exactly your quarry is going to be and where it needs to land up.
Yeah, and probably tokens too.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah.
The only other ability is Hunting Hounds. It's just while the hounds are within 6 inches of Space Wolf's character, excluding Wulfen models. If the unit's not battle shocked, increase their OC by 1.
Oh, okay. So it gives Wolves OC.
That's it.
It's aight. So there's a pretty direct comparison here between this unit and Blade Guard. Right? 3 wound Marines with 4 attacks, asterisk, at 5/2/2. And I would say Blade Guard's ability is better. Either reroll 1s on invuln saves or reroll 1s to hit, chosen at the start of the fight phase.
Yeah.
Versus pick a target and gain dev wounds against it, which is a little fine. I would say where the Headtakers triumph over Blade Guard is movement 7, first off. The characters that can join it are much better. And you can go to 6 attacks if you want.
You can go to 6 attacks if you want. I think the 6 attacks is where this gets really interesting, right? I think if I'm looking at something like Ragnar, I want paired mastercrafted weapons, and I want that just to be my murder squad. If I'm looking at a wolf priest, I probably want to take shields.
Yeah, and then it has the advantage over Blade Guard of them not having a wolf priest, right? They
Yeah.
can take a chaplain who does half of a wolf priest job, or they can take a apothecary.
Which is just both.
Yeah.
Which is so good.
Well, I suppose Blade Guard can't even take apothecaries because Space Wolves don't get them.
That's right. Yep, that's right. Yeah, so I think this is just a really good data sheet. I think it's really interesting. I think this is one of the big stars, as long as some points cost are correct.
Yeah, for sure. Headtakers are the coolest models in the new range.
Them. They are so cool. I love the pelts and all the paired weapons and stuff. Like,
next up, we've got Thunderwolf Cavalry, and I'm gonna be honest. I thought like everyone else thought, this unit was taking a dirt nap.
Nope, they're alive. Now all their characters took a dirt nap.
Yes, all the Thunderwolf Cavalry characters are now just Thunderwolf Cavalry.
Yep.
So do that. But I thought these guys were going away for sure. Like I thought for sure they were going away.
The dogs are here to stay.
They are.
And so is Wolf Jail.
They are. You can still do better than ever even. So they gained 2 points of movement. They went from movement 10 to movement 12. And on this profile, that is massive. Movement 6 to 7 is like a nice buff. Movement 10 to 12 on a unit that has to run around walls.
Big deal.
Big deal.
Big deal.
Then, in addition, the other change, you still get a Storm Shield. Their profile is otherwise unchanged. But their Wolfguard weapons are now damage 2, and they kept the +1 damage on the charge. So now the +1 damage does not apply to the teeth and claws off the Thundercav. Those kind of never did anything anyway. It was like 3 attacks they had on 4s. And Wolfguard weapons went +1 AP and +1 damage.
Yeah, I think this is overall a net buff, right? Because against -1 damage, say specifically, you just went back down to 1 damage on each of these. Instead, now you actually get to 3 damage on that breakpoint.
And also, again, I'll be honest, you roll out the Wolfguard weapons, which are more attacks and hit on 3s. I've rolled that unit out in the past. The teeth and claws never did anything. And the unit was kind of held back in a lot of respects. Like, it was really good in Stormlance, but the things you could exploit as the opponent, the weaknesses you could exploit, was A, it only moved 10, right? But B, -1 damage was pretty huge into it, and it was only AP 1. So either Armor Contempt or 2-up, or God forbid both, would just kind of shut the unit down. But now it's AP 2 base and a damage 3 base. So those Terminators that are taking that are not going to be super okay with that anymore.
I think Thunderwolf Cav are a very good data sheet.
Very, very good. Damage 3 is just such a good breakpoint.
It's such a good breakpoint.
Because a lot of the time there's these 3 wound models running around, and damage 3 is just twice as effective as damage 2 into that. And that's a double damage buff on the Wolfguard weapons, which is huge. Now, I don't think there's any characters who can lead this.
There are no characters that can lead Thunderwolf Cav.
Not a single
one. All by themselves.
That is probably for the best.
Yeah, I think so too. I think if this unit had any leader that could really juice a squad, I think they could get out of control very quickly.
Yeah.
Now it's just 6 dudes on wolves running fast at you.
Yeah, and hitting hard. Hitting hard.
But at ultimately, it's just 6 dudes.
Yeah. Because they also juiced the character up, which was also a pretty big thing. You take like a character with
Thunderhammer,
or
damage.
I mean, I even took like relic weapons because you know they would be like 6/3/3 on the charge and like crazy. But now they're all damage 3, so man, we really have to see. Backup book points cannot possibly be real for this unit.
No.
If they are real, they're 100 for 3, which is way too cheap.
Pretty ludicrous.
Like 50 points undercosted. Yeah. I don't think those are real. We will see the real points costs
when we see them.
But yeah, this unit has the potential to break the game.
I like it.
Yeah. We'll see what Stormlance holds in store. Wolfguard Terminators, 6-inch moving Terminators. They have a variety of weapons. We've got the everyone starts with a mastercrafted power weapon and a storm bolter. Any number of models can have a storm shield instead, which gives them instead of the storm bolter, which gives them 4 wounds,
which I like a lot.
Yeah, it's very good. And then for every 5 models in the unit, 1 Wolfguard Terminator can replace its storm bolter, mastercrafted power weapon, 1 assault cannon, power fist.
I'm not too interested.
No. And then the pack leader's Stormbolter Mastercrafted power weapon can be replaced with either Twin Lightning Claws or a Relic Great Axe.
I like the Relic Great Axe.
Yeah, it's 3 attacks on 3s, but it is Strength 7, AP 2, Damage 3 with Devastating Wounds.
I like that.
Damage 3, as we said, very good.
Now, the other option with the Lightning Claws, I just don't think that this Terminator unit wants to go blender up those kinds of models. Like, I don't think you need mass 1 damage for this. I want to take Terminators. I want to take their flat 2 damage and a 3 damage axe and go kill something big.
I'll be honest. This unit kind of doesn't hit hard.
No, they don't.
And your option for joining them is
Grimnar,
and
Arjac.
Also kind of 4 big centerpiece characters. They still don't hit that hard.
Yeah. I think the big thing you're taking this unit for is you're taking 4 2-up, 4-up, 4-wound models and the Relic Great Axe that are -1 to wound with strength of sire, and you take Grimnar with 8 wounds. And this is just a massive chunk of wounds at a 2-up armor save.
Yeah, and it'll grind through people rather than like smashing through.
Exactly. Yeah, I think this is more of like a long-term unit than it's like going to go in and destroy something. But we have lots of go in and destroy something units, so I think it's okay.
Yeah, it's fine. Because, yeah, it is only, 16 attacks at strength 5, AP 2, damage 2, hitting on 3s.
Mm.
And then 3 attacks hitting on 3s at 7, 2, 3. Which is not, like, bad in combat, but it's not good.
Yeah, it's not great.
So, but very tough.
I like them. Yeah. Next up, we have the Fenrisian Wolves. They're movement 10, T4, 6-up save, 1 wound, 8-up leadership, 0 OC. Not a great profile altogether here.
No, in the past, they were just cheap, and that was it.
3 attacks, hang on 4, strength 4, AP 0 for 1. Once again, nothing impressive. They do have 1 interesting ability. Once per turn, when an enemy unit ends a normal advance or fallback within 9 of this unit, they can make a normal move of D6.
That's very good.
I do like that this is once per turn. You can D6 move off reactive moves.
Yes.
You can also do it on their turn when they move into you. And then when it's within 6 inches of a Space Wolf character, if these units not battle shock, decrease the OC by 1.
That's huge. It didn't have that in the past.
Yeah, I do like that. I think this, if they're super cheap, you're going to bring some screens and just like run around and score objectives.
They used to be 30 points for 5.
Yeah.
And that was super worth it if they had OC, but they didn't. Now they can.
They can have OC, so they can flip objectives.
They're kind of like Scarabs. And Scarabs being cheap and running around and like being string out to a Technomancer and gaining OC is pretty huge in,
I agree.
In Necrons. And it's probably going to be pretty good here.
Yeah, I think these guys might find a home.
Yeah.
Next up, we have Wulfen. So it's important to note that here that Wulfen are split up into 2 data sheets now. There are Wulfen without Storm Shields and Thunderhammers, and then Wulfen with the just Wulfen weapons, basically. We'll start with the Wulfen weapons one. They have the Storm Frag Auto Launcher Sill, Assault Blast, range 12, D3 shots, strength, hitting on 4s, strength 4, AP 0 for 1. It's okay. Wulfen weapons are sustained 1, hitting on 3s, 3 attacks, strength 5, AP 2 for 2. It's not a bad profile by any means.
3 attacks is kind of fine.
Yeah, it's fine. I think these guys are hopefully going to be cheap, is why the reason you're going to want to take them. Movement 9 is also not nothing.
No.
Like, they're fast. They do have that faction rule we talked about before, Curse of the Wulfens. These guys have 0 OC unless they're near Space Wolf characters, right?
Yeah.
The other thing they have is each time an enemy unit within engagement range of this unit must fall back, they always take a Desperate Escape test. If they're battle shocked, they take -1.
That is okay. Any enemy unit, monster vehicle, all that's good?
This does include monster vehicles.
Okay, yeah. It usually does. Exalted 8-bound are the only exception to that, I think. But that's okay. They don't usually survive against the big expensive units that you really want.
Yeah, only a 4-up save here, but they are T6 now, which is actually kind of an interesting profile.
Yep.
I think that these guys are really cheap. They get really interesting. They do have one war gear ability, the Death Totem. Each time the bearer makes a melee attack, reroll a hit roll of 1. All of these guys are equipped with the Death Totem. However, in order to get that auto frag launcher, you have to give up the Death Totem.
I'm not interested in that.
Yeah, I don't really care about the auto frag launcher.
Kind of sucks.
Yeah.
That what they did was the auto frag launcher in the past was just a free upgrade you could take, and so everyone did. So our Wulfen, for example, that still need to be painted, are all equipped. Every single one of them has an auto frag launcher.
Yeah.
And the auto frag launcher is now, it was free to take, so you just included it. And now it is detrimental to take.
No frag.
So
They're
start
okay.
popping those bad boys off, or just say, you know,
Yeah.
it doesn't have the auto frag.
Get your little sprue cutters out.
Yeah.
Chop, chop.
That's unfortunate.
Next up, the Wulfen with Storm Shields. Same auto frag launcher. Instead, they have Thunder Hammers, Anti-Monster, Anti-Vehicle 3-up. 2 attacks, hitting on 3s, Strength 5, AP2 for 3. These guys, for some reason, I think are the reverse. They're auto-equipped. Oh, no, it's the exact same. You can take the Death Totem or swap it out for the auto frag launcher. Their unique ability is in the fight phase. After this unit has fought, select one enemy, monster, or vehicle unit hit by one or more of these attacks until the end of the next turn. That unit's suppressed, and it's the usual -1 hit roll. I think this is significantly worse than the other unit. They do get the 4-up invuln at T6, which is kind of tough. But
yeah.
I want my Wulfen to go kill things.
I don't think either of these are killing things.
I do think that the mass attacks from a big Wulfen squad maybe can get there.
Like 15 out of 5, or
Something like that. I
I
mean,
guess.
they hit on 3s to roll 1s, which is about the same as hitting on 2s, so they should convert most of their attacks.
they should convert most of them. Yeah.
And if they have oaths, they can still get 4 rolls.
yes, they can.
I don't know. I think there's some disappointing profiles here. I think this is a big points cost, because if they're super cheap, then all of a sudden they get really interesting. But if they're competing with all our other like premium data sheets, I just have no reason to bring this.
Headtakers.
Yeah,
Headtakers are double the number of attacks.
they do.
They do.
And 3 wounds.
And 3 wounds.
They do move 2 inches less, but
Oh, that's sad. But, you know,
and 2 less toughness. T6 is like actually like a number.
T6 is pretty huge, but you can't join them. They're OC 0 if they're not within 12 of a wolf priest or 6
Yeah.
of a character.
Eh.
Points depending.
Points depending.
So we got Murderfang. Now, Murderfang was really cool.
It was really
He was really cool. He would run in, he would fight, he'd fight again, he'd fight again, theoretically. I never managed to make that Christmas Land scenario work. So let's see what they did with him now.
Christmas Land's dead.
Christmas Land's dead? No.
Whatever.
He has an aura in the fight phase every time an attack targets a friendly Wulfen unit within 6 of this model. If a model that is destroyed as a result of that attack on a 4-up, it fights on death. It's fine. It's
Or Fight on Death Aura is pretty good.
pretty good. And then you can reroll advances and charges for him. He gets a 6-up Feel No Pain. And his combat is still pretty good. It's 8 attacks with sustained hits 1, hitting on 3s. At strength 14, AP2, damage 3, twin linked. It's actually really good.
It's a pretty good profile.
Pretty good profile. He went from movement 8 to movement 9. And that is about it. He is still OC 0, but he can actually gain OC. Whereas in the past, he could not.
Yeah.
He was just stuck at OC. Well, you could spend a CP in the index detachment, and you could give him a CP, or you give him an OC in the
Sure.
command phase.
Sure.
Which occasionally you do to hold an objective, but like, not much.
No.
He's aight. He hits
It's
hard.
okay. I like that he punches, and I like the Fight on Death Aura, right? The Fight on Death Aura is actually pretty interesting, since in our detachments, I don't think there's actually any access to Fight on Death.
Yep. And he also, by the way, has the Wulfen keyword. So he fights on death on a 4-up.
Cool.
Yep. Which is pretty sketchy if you get hit with the murder clause.
Yeah.
That's not bad.
Not bad.
Points depending also.
He's just fine.
But if he's within, he gets OC3 if he's within range of a dude, which is a huge upgrade over before. So he's interesting.
Interesting is a good way to put it.
Okay, Wulfen Dreadnought. Every time an enemy unit is selected to shoot, after that unit is shot, if this model lost 1 or more wounds as a result of those attacks, this model can Blood Surge Bestial Rage move. To do so, roll a d6 and add 2, and it can move that number of inches up to the result, but must finish that move as close as possible to the closest enemy unit. It is a Blood Surge.
D6
but it's
plus 2
D6
Blood
plus
Surge.
2 Blood Surge.
Pretty good.
On a Dreadnought is pretty cool.
Yeah.
It ain't no Death Company Dreadnought. That thing I think has 12 wounds and is toughness 10. This thing's toughness 9 with 8.
Yeah, I think its weapons aren't super great. Like, they're okay.
Yeah,
It's not super tough.
the Great Wolf Claw is 6 attacks at 10-3-3, which isn't like I'm not gonna be okay taking that, but it's probably not gonna be the scariest thing in the world, hitting on 3s with no rerolls, no nothing. Or it's 6 attacks at 10-2 d6 plus 1 with access to an okay sweep.
Yeah, I think it's okay.
It's okay. So he comes with 2. He comes with the Great Axe, the Great Wolf Claw, and you replace either of those with Blizzard Shield, which gives him a 4 pinfold, which you probably will do.
You probably will do.
He's okay.
He's okay.
He's not great. He's okay. If he were also T10 with 12 wounds, like the Death Company Dreadnought, we could be
talking.
He could be equally as good as the Death Company Dreadnought, which is a model I've never seen on the table. So,
Yeah.
Venerable Dreadnought. While a friendly Space Wolves unit is within 6 inches of this model, +1 advance and charge.
Okay.
Which is pretty good for units that advance and charge.
Yeah.
And then in combat, he is only okay.
Yeah.
You can give him a Blizzard Shield. You can give him combat that is slightly worse than a Wulfen Dreadnought, and that's about where we're at.
I like the guy for the aura, and that's about it.
Yeah.
Let's move on to the detachments. So each of these detachments are going to have their own saga that they have to complete. Now, notably, there are only 3 detachments in this book, which are pretty standard for a Space Marine Codex supplement. The first saga we're going to talk about is the Saga of the Hunter. This is the Pax Quarry. So each time a model in a Space Wolves unit from your army makes a melee attack that targets an enemy unit, that enemy unit is within engagement range of 1 or more other Adeptus Astartes units from your army, or if the attacking unit contains more models than the enemy unit, then you add 1 to the hit roll, and if your saga is complete, you add 1 to the wound roll. Now, notably, the saga mechanic here is at the start of the first battle round, your quarry tally is 0. Each time an Adeptus Astartes unit from your army fights after all of those attacks have been resolved, add 1 to your quarry tally for each enemy unit destroyed. Now, once your quarry tally is equal to the greater or equal or greater to the number below, there's going to be a little table. So for Strike Force games, that's 3, Incursions 2, and Onslaughts 4.
But Strike Force is generally 2,000 points.
That's the 2,000 points.
What you're going to be playing. Yeah.
So pretty much you need to kill 3 units in melee to unlock the saga.
That is pretty easy.
Yeah, I don't think that's too difficult to achieve, especially since I feel like we're actually going to have quite a few different melee units in this army.
Oh, yeah. And so you either, have to outnumber them or have 2 units engaged?
Exactly.
Okay, well, that's not that hard.
That's not that hard to do.
Something like a solo Rockfist, Arjac Rockfist might actually be useful.
Yeah, and the other thing, too, is that you also just have to have more models than your opponent as well. So the other thing, and all these units in the back are mostly 10-mans.
Yep.
Or if you're playing a Headtaker, they're mostly looking for like monsters and stuff like that, which they will naturally outnumber.
Oh, it doesn't have like you outnumber a vehicle because it's just 1 model?
Exactly. Yes.
That is crazy.
Yeah.
What? You just get +1 to wound against vehicles?
Yeah, it just says the attacking unit contains more models than the enemy unit.
That's nuts.
Yeah.
That's super nuts. Also, you can buy like cheap little like wolf units, right, as part of your Headtakers.
That's exactly right. And then you can just jam them in, so you can have 2 no matter what.
Yes.
I think that is a very strong saga. I think killing 3 units in melee is not too difficult, and I think the buff you get out of it for +1 to wound and just in melee is great.
All right, so now all we need to see is do the enhancements and stratagems support a melee playstyle? If there are a bunch of like utility stuff and like random nonsense, then movement 7 dudes running around the board, not going to be good enough.
Not going to be good enough.
But if they support that, if they give you damage, if they give you speed to really help you turn that saga on, we're looking good here. What do we got?
So let's start with the suite of enhancements. We have some pretty decent stuff here. The first one is the Swift Hunter. It's on a Space Wolves model only. Models in this barriers unit have the Scouts 7 ability. I like this.
That is very good.
Yeah, like on a unit of Blood Claws that advance and charge, Scout 7, advance and charge, go after some trash.
Headtakers start in the middle of the board.
Headtakers starting in the middle of the board. I think this is really good. Something we actually didn't quite highlight when we talked about the Terminators, by the way, is there are no Terminator characters that can lead them.
No generic ones.
Not epic hero ones. Yeah. So every time you read an enhancement, if you think about Terminators, the Wolfguard Terminators have no access to enhancements in any of these.
I wonder if that screws over the Grotman's detachment even harder because it's all Terminator focused.
It genuinely might.
It's okay. Listen, it's a PSA to not play the Grotman's detachment. We included it in the worst 10 detachments in the game for a reason.
Yeah.
Bad.
So Scout 7, I think that's great, especially for what this army's doing. The next one's Fenrisian Grit. An Adeptus Astartes model can get a 4-up Field Pan.
That's really good,
That's actually just
Wait.
good.
So you can take that on like a Gravis Captain.
Sure.
And just have a 4-up, feel no pain, half damage moron running around.
Just Adeptus Astartes model only.
That's really good. You have a mini Catan, like a micro Catan.
Yeah, I think it. Next up, we have the Wolf Master. Space Wolves model only in your command phase. Select one friendly Space Wolves unit within 9 inches of the bear until the start of your next command phase. Teeth and claws and Tarnak and Fenrir Grimnar stuff. Weapons gain the lethal hits ability. This is useless.
Yeah, no, that's bad. That's really bad,
yeah.
actually. I don't care about those weapons.
You're never doing this ever.
So you can take your worst weapons and give them a slight buff. Let's go.
Feral Rage, Adeptus Astartes model only. Add 1 to the attacks characteristic of melee weapons equipped by the bear. Each time the bear ends a charge move, add additional 1. I like this.
+1 attacks, not
+2 attacks on the charge.
not horrible. +2 attacks on the charge is pretty okay.
It's like 10 points or something. You just take it.
It's one of the weaker like damage buff enhancements out there, but if it's cheap, I'm not gonna be sad about it, right?
Yeah.
Like it's not Blade of Endless Bloodshed +1 attack, strength, damage, but like
It's okay.
and a buff. But that's 30 points. If this is 10, we're chilling.
I'm pretty happy with that. Yeah, especially since a big theme from those data sheets we were looking at is just having a billion attacks on all your models. Yeah. So just have more billion attacks.
More billion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So 6 strats here. The first one is going to be Envelop and Ensnare. You do this in the fight phase. It's 1 CP. 1 Space Wolves unit, excluding monsters and vehicles, from your army that has been not selected to fight. This is going to be the good version of 6 inches pile and consolidate. So until the end of the phase, each time a model in your unit makes a pile and consolidate, it can move up to 6 inches instead of 3. And when doing so, it does not need to move closer to the closest enemy model as long as it still ends closer to the closest enemy unit.
Okay.
I like this a lot, especially if you're looking at something like 20-man Blood Claws, or you're trying to wrap a transport on a consolidate or something, especially since this affects pile in and consolidate. This is a ton of movement when it matters.
It is. You still can't move if you're in base, but what you can do is go from one side of the unit and just go whoop all the way to the other side of the unit and like, oh, I ended closer to the unit.
Yep.
Which is nice. They'll come up like 10% of the time. 6-inch pile and consolidate is not bad.
Yep, I like this strat. Next up, we have Territorial Advance. Fight phase, just after an enemy unit is destroyed by an Adeptus Astartes unit from your army. You can make that objective sticky. So it's not when you die, it's when you kill them. That's the important
thing. They
thing
have
to
to be on the objective?
They have to be on the objective.
So a lot of the time, this is going to be a slightly worse version of, I play World Leaders, of the World Leaders stick.
Actually, no, sorry, Jack. It's select one objective marker you control that your unit is within range of.
And it's in the command phase or your command phase?
It's after you kill them in the fight phase.
Okay. So this is a slightly worse version of the World Leaders version of the rule, but the World Leaders rule is actually like shockingly good, which is when you die on an objective, sticky it. This is you kill them on the objective, sticky it, and then they kill you and it's already sticky.
Yeah, the big difference here is that there's a little bit of an information advantage, right? Because you know that it's sticky, so your opponent knows that they need to stick something on the objective if they're going to kill you. I think there may be some scenarios this comes up. I think this is a little weaker than the usual sticky objective strat.
Yeah, you get basically the same thing out of it as the World Leaders do. You just spend the CP ahead of time, and they don't, and that is worse. That the World Leaders strat is crazy. So like, there you go.
Okay. Next up, we have Overwhelming Onslaught. Fight phase, just after an enemy unit has selected its targets. 2 Adeptus Astartes units from your army within engagement range of the enemy unit, or 1 Space Wolves Beast unit from your army within engagement range. Until the end of phase, you are -1 hit. Okay.
How many CP is it?
Just 1.
Just 1. That's not bad.
Not bad.
It's a bit of a weird restriction for a -1 to hit.
Yeah, it is a bit of a weird restriction. It's okay.
It's okay.
Next up is Chosen Prey, 1 CP. Your movement phase, just after a Space Wolves unit falls back, that unit is able to shoot and declare charge.
That's good.
It's great.
We like having fallback, shoot, and charge.
Fallback, shoot, and charge is always good.
Because I didn't hear anything about that in the rest of the book. So having it somewhere is huge.
Next up, 1 CP, Bounding Advance. Your movement phase or your charge phase, target 1 Space Wolves infantry or Space Wolves Beast unit from your army that has not been selected to move or declare charge. Until the end of the phase, each time this unit moves basically normal advance or fallback or charge, it can move through models, excluding Titanic, notably. When doing so, it can move within engagement range of enemy models, but unless it's making a charge move, it cannot end with engagement range.
Okay. We're kind of entering the territory of like a bunch of nonsense utility strats.
Unfortunately, utility strats. I think so too.
Yeah.
This is like fine for some like movement shenanigans, but I think this army is a little less finesse and a little more brute force. Just kill the dudes. So 1 CP, Mark for Destruction. Your Shooting phase.
Shooting phase.
2 adepts as starting units from your army, excluding beasts, have not been selected to shoot this phase. Select one enemy unit visible to both of your units. Until the end of the phase, models in your unit can only target that enemy unit. And each time a model in one of those units makes an attack, reroll wind roll of 1. I don't hate that.
I see. The problem is this is 6 strats that I don't hate.
There is no 1 CP advance in charge, and I think it's a big deal.
That's a huge deal. You basically need that. A lot of times, a good melee detachment is going to look like 4 solid strats that are going to be the core of what your game plan is, and then 2 utility, nice to have, this is decent to have. This feels like 6 utility, decent to have, nice to have strats.
Nothing buffs your damage. There's no fight on death strat.
Nothing buffs your speed either.
Nothing, no advance in charge strat.
Yeah, you generally need a strat to buff your damage and a strat to buff your speed.
It's really tough because the Pax Quarry rule is really quite powerful, but you got to actually get there.
Yeah, so I mean, you could say it has the damage buff baked into the army rule, but like even something like Liberator Assault Group that has +2 strength, +1 attack baked into the detachment rule still wants the stratagem for lance lethal hits quite badly.
Yeah.
And this would really like to have advanced in charge and lance lethal hits just like in there somewhere.
Yeah, I like the enhancements. I like the detachment rule. The strats are a bit rough.
Strats are a bit
rough. I think that's the big thing holding Saga the Hunter back.
Yeah, because like you can look at any one of those strats and go, this is a good strat. This is a solid strat. I'd be happy to have this. But you have 6 of those. You need like a core of 3 to 4.
Gas.
Like you need some gas.
Need some gas.
Yeah.
Next up, we have the Saga of the Bold. So this detachment rule is Heroes All. Each time an Adeptus Astartes unit from your army is selected to shoot or fight, apply one of the following when resolving those attacks. If the Saga is completed, you roll a hit roll, a wound roll, and a damage roll. If the Saga is not completed, but you are a Space Wolves character unit still, you can reroll 1 hit roll, 1 roll, or 1 damage roll.
Is this in combat and shooting or
shoot or fight?
Okay, reroll a hit, a wound, and a damage roll is really good detachment roll.
I do generically like this.
Okay.
I think this is pretty good. The Saga of the Bold is okay. So each time a Space Wolves character unit from your army does one of the following, that unit achieves the boast. So once 3 or more different boasts have been achieved from your army, that is when the Saga is complete.
Okay, what do you do to complete a boast?
So the first one, your hide as a trophy. You destroy the Oaths of Moment target.
Okay, easy in shooting or combat?
Just says destroys.
Okay, that's super easy.
Slay them all. The unit destroys your Oath of Moment target, and that is the second Oath of Moment target that has been destroyed this battle.
Okay.
Destroy Oaths again.
Yeah.
Overrun the position. At the end of either player's turn, that unit is wholly within your opponent's deployment zone. This one's a bit tough.
That one's a bit tough. You can kind of engineer putting like nonsense in their deployment zone, but it's still kind of tough.
Yeah. Hold the line. For the second battle round onwards, at the end of your command phase, that unit is within range of an objective marker you control that is not within your deployment zone.
So you have to do 3 different one of these?
3 different. So it's your hide as a trophy, slay them all, and hold the line.
Yeah. Basically, so
kill an Oath target again, and hold up primary.
At the start of your turn, end of your turn?
From the second round, battle round onwards, at the end of your command phase.
Okay.
Hold your natural expansion turn 2.
Yeah, hold the line on turn 2. Never. You don't need to do it past that.
Yeah.
All right, that's super easy. You need to do 3 of those?
3 of those.
So turn 1, you kill an Oath target. Turn 2, you kill an Oath target and hold the line. Done, completed.
And the other thing is that you can turn your Oath on immediately, right? So you can hold the line and your hide as a trophy turn 1, and then in the middle of your shooting phase, turn on the Oath kill.
Yeah, the moment you kill the Oath target,
everything's online.
Everything rerolls a hit, a wound, and a damage roll.
Yeah.
Which is, that's a hell of a detachment roll, man.
Yeah, I don't think that's bad at all. Enhancement-wise, we have some decent enhancements here. The first one's going to be Braggart Steel, Space Wolves model only. Add 2 to the strength characteristic of melee weapons equipped by the bearer. If the bearer's unit has achieved 1 or more boost, add 1 to the damage characteristic of those weapons as well.
So they just run up and hold your expansion.
Yeah.
And then at the start of turn 2, think they've done a boast, go.
I like that a lot. Like on a battle leader, being flat 3, 7 attacks. I mean,
yeah,
that's pretty good.
Now, word of warning, if your opponent goes first and rushes you and intentionally keeps you off your expansion objective on turn 2, possibly on turn 3, you will maybe never get your 3rd boast.
That is true.
But even then, it's still real a hit or a wound or a damage, right?
Yeah.
That's not bad.
It's still not bad.
Still not.
Especially since the damage roll isn't going to come up that much. You're going to reroll a hit roll or a wound roll, and you have both. So you're usually going to like roll a wound roll.
Yeah, that's not the end of the world.
No, I think it's totally fine.
You can also, by the way, put this dude in like a squad of blood claws or gray hunters.
Mm-hmm.
Walk out, shoot your oath target to death. I've achieved a boast. Ta-da! Charge in.
Yeah. I think there's some really good options for this enhancement.
Yeah.
Next up, we have Skjald. Adapts to Astartes models only. Each time a Space Wolves character unit from your army achieves a boast, if this bear is on the battlefield, get a CP.
Okay.
This one does not have to achieve the boast, just any unit in your army.
Any unit in your army achieves a boast and you gain a CP.
Yeah.
Does that also include Ulrik? I don't think so. No, because he doesn't achieve the boast.
He doesn't achieve the boast, he just gets the effects of
He just gets the effects.
Yeah.
That's basically 3 free CP over the course of a game for however many points this is.
Yeah, the only thing that I think about this is that you're taking Bjorn, who already gives you CP.
You could skimp out on Bjorn and just say I have micro Bjorn that gives me at least a CP.
This is
for the first 2 oath kills of the game.
This is Fantasyland.
It's not. It's the first 2 oath kills of the game.
Bjorn? You're skipping Bjorn?
Why do you need Bjorn? You already get 2 CP free just for killing the first 2 oath targets.
Because Bjorn's just good.
And then if you ever hold your expansions, a 3rd free CP. And then you spend like, I don't know, 20 points on this, maybe, whatever it is, instead of like 100 and whatever.
I'm not skipping on Bjorn.
Okay, fair enough.
I'm not skipping on Bjorn. Next up, we have Horde Slayer. Space Wolves model only at the start of the fight phase. If there are more enemy models than friendly models wholly within 6 inches of the bear, until the end of the phase, add 2 to the attacked characteristics of melee weapons equipped by the bear. If the bear's unit has achieved 1 or a boast, add 3 instead. Okay.
It's conditional.
It's very conditional, but like extra attacks are extra attacks. If it's cheap enough, I'll take it.
I'm not sad about it.
I'm not sad about it.
No.
Thunderwolf's Fortitude, it's a Astartes model only. The first time the bear is destroyed, remove it from play, and then on a 2-up, it will res as close as possible with 3 wounds remaining.
That is insane, and I will tell you why. I have already done the legwork on this for you. Okay. Don't worry.
All right.
The Angelic Inheritors has that exact enhancement.
Sure.
It goes on anyone, right? It goes on anyone they stand up when they die.
Adeptus Astartes model.
Adeptus Astartes model. And it is the best enhancement in Angelic Inheritors, and I will tell you why. Because what you do, as I said, I've done the legwork on this. I thought about putting it on every Space Marine character, and I eventually broke it. What you do is you put it on a Lone Op Lieutenant. And the reason why you put it on a Lone Op Lieutenant is, and it's so good on him. You put him on literally what you do, your opponent will be right next to the center objective. You put him on the center objective. You tell your opponent, hey, if you move on to the center, my dude has on his data sheet a 6-inch reactive move. I'm just going to walk behind a wall.
Yep.
We're Gucci. You put something on the center. I'm going to shoot it now and put him back on the center. Your opponent's like, wow, I'm losing resources for free. This sucks.
I hate that.
I hate that. I've won games entirely off of that. My opponent bled like 4 resources over the first couple turns, and like, oopsie daisy, you lose.
Oopsie daisy.
Or I'm just not going to move within 9 of this fella. Oh, okay. I'm going to hold the point. I'm going to hold that point. I'm going to get a primary advantage. I'm going to force you out on, to come to me. And they're like, okay, I don't like that at all. I don't like that at all. I don't want to lose. I hate losing. It's my least favorite.
They got to go in.
They got to go in.
They got to stop him.
So if they walk up to charge him, they have to take a 9-inch charge. And you have a heroic from oftentimes behind a wall.
Mm-hmm.
And if they biff the charge, you just hold the point. They are not going to want to risk that either. So if they shoot him from 12 inches, from more than 9, but inside 12, he just stands back up and holds the point.
I like this.
It is, I'll put it to you this way. I played a lot of very good players with my Angelic Inheritors list. I played like 35 games with that.
Sure.
Like I kept track because I was like prepping and I practiced a lot more than normal.
Right.
And I'm serious when I say literally not a single player found a good way around that problem.
There's really not a good way around it that exists.
Not really.
Yeah.
And it made the dynamic of my opponent has to come forward. I don't lose any resources. They lose the resource. I then put him back on the center again. They come forward. I back up behind a wall. They lose the resource. I don't lose anything. Put him back on the center again. It's great. You're going to love it.
All right. I like it.
Yeah.
I like it. We have 6 strats here. The first one's Inspiring Presence. So this is 1 CP in the fight phase, 1 Adeptus Astartes character unit from your RB that is eligible to fight. They gain lethal hits. It's okay.
Okay. It's not bad.
It's not bad. It's all right.
Yeah.
The next one is 1 CP Champion's Guidance. Your shooting phase or fight phase. One Space Wolves character from your unit that has not been selected to shoot or fight this phase. You can reroll hits. So I like that you can do this and you don't have to use oaths. It's like 1 CP, you get another oath target.
That is very good.
Yeah, I like that. 1 CP Birth of a Saga, your command phase. 1 Wolfguard Headtaker, or 1 Wolfguard Terminator Pack Leader model from your army. Until the start of your next command phase, this model gains the character keyword. So notably, the rule also says that any other rules that interact with character units also now interact with this model, so he can be assassinated.
Okay, sure. So this is weird. Like, this feels like Angelic Inheritors, but without a detach roll that keys off of characters. I guess they have to be a character to complete the boast.
They do have to be a Space Wolves character unit to complete the boast.
Do they have to be a Space Wolves character unit to benefit from the saga?
So I'll read it again. Each time an Adeptus starts unit from your army is selected to shoot or fight, apply one of the following. If your saga is completed, you can reroll 1 hit roll, 1 wound roll, and 1 damage roll. However, if the saga is not complete, it's only Space Wolves characters that can reroll a hit roll, a wound roll, or 1 damage roll.
Okay, so before you have the saga complete, it's only characters.
Oh, no, sorry. No, you got it. So if the saga is not complete, it's only characters.
Okay, and it's or, and then the saga is complete, it's and?
It's everyone and.
Okay, I don't really care if they're a character or not, like, that much. I'm going to be 100 with you.
Once you get the boast done, it's just kind of everyone.
I guess if you have a unit that is unled in this army that has great characters, then, and they need to go kill the oath target to complete a boast, you can do it.
It's very niche.
In Angelic Inheritors, that strat is still niche, and it gives the unit fallback, shoot, and charge, reroll 1s to hit and wound, and access to the second half of a bunch of strats.
Yeah, this strat's not very good.
Yeah.
Next up, Alpha Strike, charge phase. 1 Adeptus starters character unit from your army. Until the end of phase, it is eligible to advance and charge.
That's very
Ding,
good.
ding, 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 ding.
That's very good.
We found it.
I like that one.
Next up, we have Heroic Resolve. 2 CP, your opponent's shooting phase, just after an enemy unit is selected as target. 1 Space Wolves character unit from your army that is selected as a target of one of those attacks. Until the end of the phase, each time an attack is allocated to a model in your unit, subtract 1 from the damage.
That is pretty damn good.
I like it quite a bit. I'm very sad this doesn't say shooting or fight phase.
Yeah, it would be pretty huge in the
If
fight.
this was shooting or fight phase, Bjorn and like 5 Volkwood Terminators would be like unshiftable.
Unkillable. Yeah. They're still very hard to kill in shooting because you have a 4 wound model and any 2 damage goes to 1 damage. Now it's 4 wounds to kill a guy. Or you have a lot of 3 wound models in this army, like head takers, that sort of
Stuff
thing.
like rocket launchers and stuff. That's actually like a big deal again.
It halves the efficacy of those
Yep.
things, and that's huge.
I think this is actually still a good stratagem.
Yes. -1 damage in shooting. Not as good as -1 damage in combat, but still very good.
Still good. All right, and for our final stratagem, we have Counter Charge. This is 2 CP. End of your opponent's charge phase. 1 Adeptus Astartes, a character unit from your army that is within 6 inches of 1 or more enemy units and would be eligible to declare a charge against 1 or more of those enemy units as if it were your charge phase. Your unit now declares a charge that targets only 1 or more of those enemy units, and you can resolve that charge as if it was your charge phase. Note that even if the charge is successful, your unit does not receive the charge bonus on this turn.
Yeah, so the charge bonus is just fight first. Any impact mortals or any charge buffs you have, or buffs if your unit has completed a charge, they still work. You just don't get fight first.
Notably, the opponent did not also charge in this phase, and in this case, so you just kind of get fights first anyway.
Yeah, you can charge a unit that has made a charge. You can do like a second heroic intervention if you want, but where this is at its best is this is like a 9th edition heroic. But 6 inches, which was a very good rule in 9th edition, where you're on an objective behind a wall. If your opponent wants to just put like 10 gargoyles on that point to contest it, you just charge them in your charge phase, and they can't hold the point against you, right? 6 head takers with Ragnar that are just standing on the other side of a wall. Your opponent needs to kill them in order to take that objective away.
You have to either, like, you can't screen me from 6 inches. You have to be more than 6 inches away. Like, you cannot do a lot of things. This strat is sneakily very good.
It's incredible.
Yeah.
It is the only good part of Champions of Fenris is so they have the ability to do this army-wide as 3 inches. That's garbage. I don't care about 3 inches. 3 inches, you're not going to manage to stop your opponent from contesting points away from you most of the time, and it just doesn't control a relevant part of the board. 6-inch aura around your unit is 4 times the board space of a 3-inch aura around your unit. And it means that your army controls dramatically more space taking objectives away is dramatically harder. And the best part of this strat is that you don't have to spend it unless your opponent moves within 6. So even though it's 2 CP, most of the time your opponent is going to turn their turn inside out, and then you don't have to spend.
You can just hold the shotgun up and tell them, come here.
Yeah, come on.
Come here.
I don't have to actually fire this gun until you walk in its path.
Yeah. Not going to lie, I really slept on this detachment on the first read. And then as we just went through it, I think there's actually some real juice here.
I think same. Like, I looked at it and was like, okay, seems all right. And then at every rule you're reading, I'm like, this is incredible.
Yeah, I really think there's something in the share. Advance and charge is great. The character keyword, all of this stuff just doesn't matter because we're going to take 500 characters in this army.
Yeah.
Our characters are genuinely incredible.
Also, the primary control this army has
Great.
is insane.
Mm-hmm.
This has the 6-inch, is the 6-inch heroic, and it has, I cannot describe to you how transformative that lone op lieutenant with that strat, with the enhancement is for just making your opponent want to die.
Yeah, because you can have that in the middle. You can also have your natural expansion protected by countercharge.
Dude, you slap him down like right in front of your opponent.
Yeah.
If your opponent will have Vindicators like 12 inches away from him, and you're like, he's on the center. What do you want to do about it? What do you want to do about it, huh? You want to go?
Something I also like about the advance and charge, this was something I was really looking for, is something like Njal Stormcaller with Grey Hunters. Being able
to advance 6.
So he can auto advance 6. You can make it so you can advance and charge. Give all the guns assault. Their guns are actually pretty decent. So you can fire a bunch of shots, reroll wounds on objectives, clear a screen, and then still charge after. Like, that's actually a pretty decent unit.
And you essentially get 2 oaths, right? Because you get 1 CP reroll hits in combat, which is a good rule.
Which is great.
And then you have oath. It's damn good. And your shooting is also very effective.
Yep.
Because as soon as you hit turn 2, right, and kill your first oath target, your entire shooting core gets reroll a hit and a wound set roll.
And a damage.
And a damage roll.
Yeah.
Which, you know, I skipped over it, but Space Marine Vehicles anti-tank is D6 plus X.
Which is pretty good.
Yeah, with a reroll damage is massive.
Also good on like Melta. I like say you could bring like, I don't know, like an Eradicator unit or something along those lines.
You can.
It's like, I guess they already really rolling wounds and damage, but
Like, remember how we were talking about a Valiant with the Iron Priest?
yeah.
That thing rerolling a hit, a wound, and a damage roll will put a tank into the Nether Realm every single time. A Lancer rerolling 2 hits and 2 wounds is now entering consistency.
Yeah. I think this is going to be the most like generically good overall Space Wolves combined arms list.
Yeah.
I like this a lot.
Yeah, I'm super, super happy with that detachment.
Let's move on to the final one, the Saga of the Beast Slayer.
All right, Saga of the Beast Slayer. We got Legendary Slayers as the detachment rule. Every time an Adeptus Astartes model from your army makes an attack, if it targets a character, monster, or vehicle, you get lethal hits.
Okay.
Or if your saga is completed in general, you get lethal hits. So character, monster, vehicle, and then if you complete the saga, everything.
Okay.
I'll be honest, you don't really need to complete the saga.
No.
At the start of the first battle round, your Beast Slayer tally is 0, and you determine your target number by halving the number of units from your opponent's army that have 1 or more of the following keywords: character, monster, vehicle. Every time an Adeptus Astartes unit from your army shoots or fights, add 1 to the tally for each enemy unit with 1 or more of those following keywords destroyed by those attacks. Once your Beast Slayer tally is equal to or greater than your target, your saga is completed.
I think this is very hard to turn on.
It's going to be quite difficult.
Yeah. I think this is really difficult to turn on.
Really tough because either your opponent's going to have like, there's just no number where it's good.
No.
If your opponent has 1, they're going to be like, noted.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then you just never complete the saga.
You just never complete it. If they have 3, you have to kill 2 of them. Like, okay.
Yeah. I like the rule it gives. Very difficult to achieve.
Yeah, the nice part is that you get lethal hits. If you don't complete the saga, you only get it against characters, monsters, vehicles,
Which is still good.
Like,
It's when you want it.
It's 90% of the time when you want it.
Yep.
Occasionally, you play into Deathwing Knights or 8-bound or something that doesn't have a character and is moderately tough, but generally not. Yeah, this is pretty good. It's gonna be weirdly bad into Thundercat.
It's very weirdly bad into.
But yeah, if they have 1 character, it's going to be really rough if they have no monsters and vehicles. If they have 1 character in their army or 3 characters in their army,
Yeah.
and you need to root that dude out.
Yeah.
You better slay that beast.
Better slay the beast.
But lethal hits against characters, monsters, vehicles is good. Ignore
Just
the
good
fact,
generic.
ignore the fact that there's a thing attached to it. Occasionally you'll unlock it,
Mhm.
and otherwise that's fine. Enhancements, we got Wolf Touched, Space Wolves model only, add 2 to the move characteristic of the bearer, and he can be joined to Wulfen or Wulfen with Storm Shields.
I don't hate this.
Yeah, that's good. It's good. You can do weird stuff with this because it's just any model.
Yep.
You can add it to non-infantry. So you can add it to a chaplain on bike.
Okay.
He moves 14 now because he's plus 2 move, and he can really like slingshot a unit of Wulfen in.
Okay.
Which I think is cute and gives him +1 to wound. That's probably the best use for it, just off the top of my head, is just saying, hey, I'm going to slingshot this unit because this big base dude moves 14 now.
I like it.
Yeah.
Generally. I think it's just generally a good enhancement.
Yeah. Hunter's Guile, adept as a Starry Maul only. After both players have deployed their armies, select up to 3 Thundercav, Wulfen, and Bloodclaw units from your army and redeploy them.
This is tough. I don't like the targets it hits.
No. Thundercav get to redeploy from where my opponent can see them to where my opponent will still get to see them.
Yeah, and then I don't really care about redeploying infantry because they should be hiding behind walls anyway.
Yeah.
It's like a very bad redeploy.
All right. We got Elders Guidance, sorry. Space Wolves model only once per battle at the start of the fight phase. If the bearer is leading a Bloodclaws unit, can use the enhancement. If it does, improve the AP characteristic of melee weapons equipped by models in the unit by 1.
Great.
Yes.
Genuinely
+1
great.
AP.
Yep.
Genuinely very good. Helm of the Beast Slayer. Adeptus Astartes model only. Each time an attack made by a character, monster, or vehicle model targets the bearer's unit, reduce the AP characteristic of that attack by 1.
This is somehow awesome and terrible at the same time. Because like when it works, it's so cool. And when it doesn't, it's like, I hate this.
But again, it's character, monster, or vehicle, which is like 90%.
Yeah.
And it's shooting
gonna
and
be
combat.
really,
Shooting and
really good when it matters.
Yes. I think it's worth it, honestly.
I think it's worth it. I think since what sucks here is this is something where I think about Wolfguard Terminators. I was like, oh, I wish I just had a character I could put these on.
Whoopie daisy. I mean, even just putting it in 6
Headtakers.
6 Headtakers is going to make them not immortal, but like annoying.
Yeah.
You
sure.
put this on
like a Wolf Priest.
a Wolf Priest who then reses a model, and you can
do AOC 4-up invulnerable storm shields on them.
Yep, or you just take you just say screw it, I'll have cover and AOC, fake AOC.
Pick AOC.
And like I'll just take the swords. I'll take the twin swords, right?
Sure. That's true.
That seems pretty neat. We got Unbridled Ferocity, 1 CP. Fight phase, a Space Wolves unit from your army that has not been selected to fight, get +1 to wound.
Good.
That's very good.
Notably, it's not Lance, oddly enough. It's just
A lot of the time they're Lance,
it's just
but not
+1
this
to
one.
wound. Yeah.
That's a very good strat.
Yep.
It's 1 CP +1 to wound.
Because you can do it on either turn.
Either turn, there's no restrictions. It's just +1 to wound.
I like it.
Yeah. You can even, by the way, use it, and then if you have any kind of fight on death, it still triggers because it just checks. You pick a unit from your army that has not been selected to fight, not a unit that is selected.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah.
That's a
Yeah.
sneaky use for it.
1 CP Shot Cavalry. Your movement phase, your charge phase. 1 Thunderwolf cavalry unit from your army that has not been selected to move or declare a charge. Until the end of the phase, every time a model unit makes a normal, advance, fallback, or charge move, it can move through models and sections of the terrain features that are 4 inches or less in height. When doing so, it can move within engage range of enemy models, but unless it's making a charge move, it cannot end that move within engage range. Now, this is cute,
But it's fine.
but it's fine. If it was moved through terrain,
Great.
ball
Amazing.
insane.
Yeah.
Nuts. Why are they doing this to me? But it's 4 inches or less. And let's take a quick review. GW terrain. How much terrain is 4 inches or less?
Like none.
It's actually 0
Except the ones that are 2 inches less that you can already move over.
that you can already move over. Yes. So this is, a WTC terrain. The
It could be
sections of
interesting.
terrain that you can move over is like this much on
Yeah.
the end of the ruins, on some of the ruins. Okay.
It's okay.
Moving through models is cute, though.
It is cute, though.
What it does is nice. It means they can't just put a line of dudes in.
That is true. You can't be just straight move blocked.
Can't be straight move block. They'll move through that. It's fine. And you can also do it in the movement and the charge phase.
Cool.
So you move over them in the movement phase, charge deeper, different unit charges over in the charge phase, and goes deeper.
I can see that.
Pitting fire. In your shooting phase, you pick an Adeptus Astartes unit from your army that has not been selected to shoot this phase. Until the end of the phase, after your unit has shot, select an enemy character, monster, or vehicle unit hit by one or more of those attacks. Until the start of your next shooting phase, that unit is pinned. While it's pinned, -2 move and -2 charge.
In the right cases, this is good.
Yes. It's basically 1 CP, jump through a slight hoop, -2 move, -2 charge.
Yep.
Which is good. You can't do it to staged units.
It's a good toolbox.
Good toolbox. The reason I think that they stapled it to getting shot is because you don't want to just be able to say that unit hiding behind a wall. Nope, can't move anywhere.
Yeah.
So at least you have to get line of sight to it. It's a solid strat. 1 CP, your opponent's movement phase, just after an enemy unit ends a normal advance or fallback move within 9 inches of one of your units. Your unit can make a normal move up to D6, but if it's infantry or Thunderwolf cavalry, okay, that's all of it.
Yep.
It's flat 6.
Good.
Very good, actually.
Great.
Yes. Impetuosity. 1 CP, your opponent's shooting phase, just after an enemy unit selected its targets. Wulfen infantry or blood claws from your army that was selected as the target of one or more of the attacking its attacks. After the enemy unit has shot, if one or more models in your unit were destroyed, your unit can make an impetuous move. This is Blood Surge. It is D6 inches.
D6 Blood Surge on a 21 Blood Claw unit is interesting.
It is. It's not bad. It makes your opponent play around it.
I think the strat suite here was overall mediocre.
We got one more.
Okay.
Yeah, Coordinated Strike. End of your opponent's fight phase. Space Wolf unit from your army that is wholly within 9 inches of one or more battlefield edges and not in engage range goes into strategic reserves.
That's okay.
It's okay. It's okay.
I like that you can like turn 1, like go second, throw something into rapid if you really want to.
Honestly, I thought it was kind of crazy that the detachment that we thought was the worst going in is actually, I think
it's the best. Yeah.
I think it's the best.
I think it's the best. Saga the Bold, I think, provided the most interesting builds, the most interesting overall toolbox. I think it supported the best package.
Yes.
Saga the Hunter, I was really excited about on first read, and I went to those strats and I was like, these are not the best.
No, they're all like 5 out of 10.
1 CP advance and charge would have been great. Saga the Hunter.
Saga the Bold has that. I will say Saga the Beast Slayer has a pretty good rule, and you don't actually have to complete the saga to be happy.
Lethals are quite nice, right? But lacking advance and charge once again is hard.
It's rough.
Like you really want to advance and charge like all of the time.
Yeah,
in this army,
your models move faster, but they don't move that fast.
They don't move that fast, and I don't want to like all of a sudden start having to pay points for like rhinos.
Yeah, it does feel like it does feel like the Thundercav detachment, but maybe you're just better served in Stormlance.
I think that's the other issue is that Stormlance exists, which just is going to give the always advance and charge, -1 to hit, -1 to wound. Like I think the package is just better there.
Yeah, and then you get the -1 to hit, -1 to wound is phenomenal, and then you still have +1 to wound. Yep. Right? It's just conditional.
Yep, which is fine.
And then you have the flat advance. I think Stormlance just does what that detachment's trying to do, but better.
Yeah, I think so too. I think that's the really big struggle with that one. I think out of just generic Space Wolf detachments, I think Saga of the Bold was the clear winner.
I think so. And honestly, it gives you some things to go up against Gladius on.
Yes.
Because if you're doing a combined arms, if you're doing a Thunder Cav rushdown approach, it's
Stormlance.
It's Stormlance.
Yeah.
But if you're going for a combined arms good stuff approach, the Gladius is almost always in Space Marines the clear winner. There's a couple of detachments that can stand up against it in my mind.
Mm-hmm.
Like for example, Angelic Inheritors actually has a pretty decent claim on that. Liberator Assault Group, sometimes in Blood Angels, depending on what build you're looking to do, can go up against Gladius. Saga of the Bold actually I think can.
I liked that Saga of the Bold gave damage consistency, speed, defensive buffs, utility buffs.
Yeah. It really helps you control objectives.
Yeah. I think Saga of the Bold will probably be what you're going to see on the War Room.
I'm excited for that.
Right now.
I'm super excited for that. And again, we went into this thinking it was the worst. Then we read it and we're like, read it again.
Yeah, very excited. So I think this is going to conclude our Space Wolf Codex review.
Absolutely. I'm very excited for this. It doesn't have a lot of units, doesn't have a lot of detachments, but it's got a lot of flavor.
Yeah, so much flavor. The data sheets are so unique. They have their really clear things that they're doing. I love the overall identity and feel of the army. I like how sagas are designed. Now I think they make a little more sense. And just some gorgeous new models.
Yes.
Like genuinely some very beautiful new models.
Yeah, you have those with you now, right? And you're working on them?
That's right. That's right. Slaving away.
Getting them ready, getting them going.
Getting them going.
Absolutely. Well, I mean, hell, this is the time to take over as the Space Wolves guy. Here you go. Here's my Space Wolves hat. You can wear it. I had fun with it,
Fun.
but I think they'll be better served with you.
Yeah, I'm gonna have a really good time. I think this is a faction that's probably in my wheelhouse, and I'm going to go on a whole journey of learning how to be a Space Marine player. I have no idea what your weapons even look like.
I'm
So,
super excited.
yeah, this is gonna be a good time. Well, you guys, thanks so much for watching. Me and Jack had a really good time talking about this. Don't forget, like, comment, subscribe. Tell me what your favorite Space Wolves character is, because you have so many good options at the end of the day. Go to the War Room. Check out the warroom.vajax.tv. Start that free trial, and you can watch a Space Wolves game right now and see all the cool stuff that's going to be Saga involved. And if you have any questions, just at me or Jack in the Discord.
All right. Thank you so much for joining us, and we'll see you guys next time.
Thank you very much.
Bye-bye.